Are y'all ready to head off the trails? I'm Jessica Jones, the Cryptid Huntress, and I'm ready to take you on a mysterious journey right now. We welcome you to Off the Trails right here on the Spaced Out Radio's YouTube channel. If you guys haven't hit subscribe yet, please do. We would really appreciate the love. Shout out to Bumblefoot for that amazing intro music. I really appreciate it. And you guys, please go follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. You guys can find me at thecryptidhuntress.com, and please subscribe to my amazing YouTube channel, The Cryptid Huntress, and visit my shop, War Woman Goods. That really supports everything I do here and on my YouTube channel. All right. Also, I have a Patreon, so you guys please go be a member of my Patreon. It's the Cryptid Huntress, of course. All right. I have a fantastic guest here at Space Out Radio tonight. I have Brown Dwarf here with me. And don't forget that right after our show, After Hours has a program set up for you guys tonight. And before we get started, I want everybody to please go get your tickets to Las Vegas. Spaced Out Radio is having a fan party May the 19th through the 21st. It's down here on the ticker. And we're all going to be there. All the hosts here. We're going to be in Vegas in May. That's my birthday week. So y'all come see me. Okay. And of course, right after that, the next week, I'm going to be speaking at the Journey to Truth conference in Grafton, Illinois. That's May 22nd through the 25th. Barry Littleton will be there. Geraldine Orozco will be there. Those are friends to Spaced Out Radio. I hope y'all will join me there. And then in April, I've been asked to speak at the Frogman Festival in Ohio. It's actually in Mason, Ohio. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'll give details later. Y'all go to my website, thecryptidhuntress.com, if you want more information on that. Okay. Yeah, it's going to be a busy year. Oh, and I'm speaking at the Georgia Bigfoot Conference on April 1st. Okay. So we're just getting started. All right, let's get to our guest because we have a lot to talk about tonight, you guys. All right. Brown Dwarf was born in Hollywood, California, and resides in Humboldt County, California, as well as in Southern Oregon. He's always been fascinated with the mysteries of life. As a youth, he began having UFO sightings, which continue to this day. Living in Bigfoot country has expanded his reality to the phenomenon of the Sasquatch people. Having had several sightings and many experiences with these beings, he began documenting his journey. He has an amazing TikTok, YouTube, all that stuff. Please help me welcome to Spaced Out Radio once again, Mr. Brown Dwarf.
Greetings, Jessica. Greetings, chat, and everyone, YouTube world. Salute.
Hey, oh my gosh. So I'm so happy you're here with me tonight. I had a show with you on my daytime program at the Cryptid Huntress on YouTube. It has blown up. It actually has more views than any other live show that I've done on my YouTube channel.
Wow.
And it's where you and I branched off because we're Bigfoot researchers. And we decided to do something totally different and talk about clones, okay, and human resets and hidden history in America and all over the world, and even the Cabbage Patch, right?
Yes.
And so human resets, it's something that it kind of blew my mind. It's been something that a lot of people have a big interest in right now for some reason. So are you ready to get this show on the road tonight?
Oh yeah. No, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, mentioning the fact that we are interested in the Sasquatch topic, I think it branches us off into this topic here. And once again, I like to mention, and you hear a lot of people mentioning these days that everything is connected, and it's just one of those things that makes me realize, like, yeah, here's another connection, another thread to this puzzle of life that we're trying to put together. So yeah, I'm ready to rock.
Oh my gosh. Well, we have so much to talk about because we hear about clones in the news and how some rappers and music industry people and actors and actresses, we hear they're clones, and politicians. How about that? Politicians. And there's videos and pictures of some of the politicians who have different earlobes in different pictures. And could they be body doubles for security and stuff? Yeah, they could. But
doppelgangers and used in some sort of way. Yeah,
That's
no,
right. It could.
all this makes me think of all right, I think cloning, okay, it's probably it's something new. I remember hearing about Dolly the sheep. What was that, in the 90s or so? And it seemed like a new
Yes.
thing, and it seems like, all right, this day and age, we're in the 2000s. We're technology, I can't even say it, technology is advanced. I was going to say another word, it wasn't coming out, but
Technologically advanced.
advanced. Thank you. Um,
Yes.
so and with all the stuff we have nowadays, and we think it's a new thing, but yeah, you think about his story. Um, yeah, there's technology has been around for a long time. Last show we were talking about certain topics, and the term antiquitech came up, and yeah, I'm finding out that there's a lot of technology in our past, and come to find out, cloning as well. So if you look into certain cultures, like one that comes to mind is like the Sumerian culture. I remember finding out about them and diving into that whole topic, and I remember them mentioning possible like a alien astronaut theory, where they had this theory of extraterrestrials that may have came down to Earth and possibly seeded us, and maybe even started a hybrid program and cloning program with us. And so, you think of the Sumerians,
Yeah.
that's a culture way far back. And so this has been going on a long time. And another thing that I'm learning on this experience on this planet is the cycles of things. Certain things tend to work on cycles, and it seems like this phenomenon, or these happenings tend to be on these cycles as well. And yeah, it's pretty far out stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so Jesus Payan, who Gonzo, he's been on my show, on my YouTube channel and here at Space Out Radio. Yeah, we did some shows about the hidden history in America and the Tartarian Empire and old world fairs. Okay, and we also talked about the orphanages, repurposed castles in America that were turned into insane asylums and orphanages,
Right.
incubator babies. Okay, we're going to touch on all that tonight too, you and I, because we're kind of outlining a story, okay, for the audience tonight, to kind of tell the story of something that potentially has been hidden from us.
Right.
For a long time.
And
Okay, so
I feel this story could go. It can. It probably will go many ways as well. So hang on.
yeah, y'all buckle up. We're taking everybody for a ride tonight. We're going down. We're on a woo train. Okay, tonight, definitely on a woo train. Okay, so it was brought to my attention, and I think Brown Dwarf, you're the one who sent me this. There was a video from a YouTube channel called Mind Unveiled, I believe, and they had a video about these postcards. Okay, and I'm going to show some pictures tonight of these postcards because you and I both have done pretty good research on this at this point. But there was a series of postcards from the 1800s that showed babies being grown on farms. Okay, they look like they were being grown like cabbages. Flowers, they were grown like mushrooms. There were babies that were like in eggs, like chicken eggs. Okay, being born. And these, I mean, there were like thousands of these cards. And there wasn't much of an explanation behind these cards other than them being really cute. Families going in, and they're all Caucasian babies, by the way. I don't think I saw a single one where they were any color but Caucasian. But there's people going and picking out the babies they want out of the patches, like the Cabbage Patch. Right. Okay, and I mean, I have several examples of these that we're going to show tonight. But you see, the guy's got a rake, and he's, this guy's just picked a fresh one from the garden. Okay.
Wow.
It's a little odd, right?
Yes.
These babies, they're floating. I mean, they're smoking hookahs and drinking coffee, and I mean, this one right here, they're actually drinking beer, I think, and it's just really odd. But they have them where they're being brought in on trains. Okay.
And we mentioned that.
Now there was a time where there was something called orphan trains, where orphans were, well, they were called orphans, were transported all over the United States and put into these like empty cities and in these rural areas, relocated into these big orphanages and asylums and things all over the country. It's just a little odd, and I'm only showing the audience this tonight so you can get an idea of maybe some cloning perhaps that might have gone on, okay, in our past. Some of these cards remind me of something. What do these remind you of, Brown Dwarf?
The Cabbage Patch Dolls. Definitely.
Yes. Absolutely.
And,
okay.
And you mentioned cloning, and what comes to mind, is also is like, yeah, where did all these kids come from?
Well, apparently the stork brought them, just like the stork brought them into the Cabbage Patch Babyland General. Okay. A stork. Actually, there's a very interesting story behind the Cabbage Patch, and let me tell you, this place is up in North Georgia in a town called Cleveland, Georgia. I was just there recently doing some. We do Bigfoot research up in that area. It's an area of high strangeness. It may or may not be on a ley line or close to one. But there's a lot of high strangeness. And like I said, in that vicinity is where we do Bigfoot research. Okay, so we got UFOs, Sasquatch, you name it, is out there. But yeah, I mean, it's really eerily similar to these postcards, right? We got Xavier Roberts there. He signed his name on every Cabbage Patch doll's butt. Okay, and but also this leads us into something even more interesting, right? Is these incubator babies, right? That we had back in, I guess it was the early 1900s.
Yes.
There were incubator babies at these old world fairs, and like traveling incubator baby shows and stuff, where people would actually go and pay to go see incubator babies, like preemie babies. But there was no mention as to where the mothers were or the parents. Like, where did all these babies come from?
Yes. And yeah, that's interesting. I would recommend people looking into the world fairs as well. I think that's a whole other topic that's fascinating, and what those were.
Yeah. Well, we were also told around this time there was something called a baby boom. Oops, let me take that one down. We're not ready for that picture yet. But there was something called a baby boom, and that was back when my mother and my dad were born, right after World War II. There was an alleged baby boom, and I don't say just alleged because there was a baby boom. Okay. A lot of babies were born, but it was all said to be because of the war. The men came back from war overseas, and they were like rabbits reproducing, right? So that was a really good explanation for that. However, it's all just a little bit odd, right? Because there's been a lot of talk recently about human resets. Okay, human resets, and people are looking into this mud flood stuff. Okay, yes. And so, what are you familiar with the mud flood?
Yeah, so I've been hearing about these resets, and so apparently it's not only mud floods or floods, but fires as well. And I was mentioning the cycles earlier. Someone was doing some digging into this and mentioned possibly that these cycles come every 360 years. So that's something to look into to verify if that's true or not. But and they switch vice versa. It could be flood fire or fire flood. And another thing that comes to mind with these disasters is I'm hearing more about people and independent, I guess scientists you could call them, and people out there that are just looking into this stuff and finding fossilized creatures and stuff like that. And some of these creatures are giants as well. And then I know we're going to touch on the giant thing in a bit, but yeah, just want to throw that out there.
Okay, we're absolutely going to talk about it, because what would be the point of all of these, like someone bringing all these extra babies into the world, and where did they come from? Where are the mothers at? Where were the fathers at? Like, there's no story behind that. It's just like these babies just showed up,
Right.
and they were dispersed all over the United States. Okay, and so Jesus Payan and he's the one that originally brought this to my attention a few months ago, and we did a couple of shows on it on my YouTube channel, and we were looking into things with our architecture all over the country, it not adding up to what we've been taught in our history books. Okay, especially in San Diego, in San Francisco, even Atlanta. You got to think. We had a lot of beautiful architecture that they said was built just for these old world fairs, and then they just destroyed it
or abandoned
because the fairs were gone from out of town. And we're talking about like Greek architecture, like beautiful European and looking beautiful things that was all replaced by ugly minimalist architecture.
And some of this architecture is not only found throughout North America, but it's worldwide. And it's very similar architecture, and it's just all over the place. And so one of the theories is that these Tartarians, who some say were possibly giants, were the builders of some of these possible megaliths and cathedrals and these structures we're talking about that are now being used by governments and even I know secret societies and stuff like that, or they convert those old facilities into new different facilities. They're still used, and like you said, some are destroyed as well.
Yeah, well, a lot of it was destroyed, and during this, let's take the Civil War for instance. Atlanta was burnt to the ground. Okay. A lot of the big cities were burnt to the ground. And, could it have been a product of war? That's what we're taught. But now that I've been looking into all of this, old world fair stuff and the Tartarian Empire and all of this somatic, as you call it, somatics, is that what that is? With the sound frequencies?
Yes, sound,
I'm looking at all of that, and it makes more sense that it was destroyed on purpose. Okay, and that's something that is I formed an opinion on because of my research. It doesn't mean I'm right. Okay, but it's something that I am leaning towards now after doing some research on this. So I thought maybe we could talk about that. Yeah. But well, I want to back up just a little bit. Okay. Because someone sent me, after you and I did that show on the Cabbage Patch and orphan trains, it was either Tyler or Aaron from Journey to Truth podcast sent me a video off of TikTok. Okay.
Yeah.
But there's some things that you just resonate with, right, Brown Dwarf? We just resonate with something, and it all makes everything make sense. Okay. And there was a TikToker named Pin Puck. Okay. And he had a video about the pod people. Now, are you familiar with the pod people?
Just as of recent, and I think you might have brought it to my attention. And I was kind of blown away by that. And like I said, it was just like another piece to this puzzle that kind of fit really nice. And so I'm kind of like fascinated by this now and looking into the pod people. And so what is it? Is it privately owned
operated drones, privately operated drones.
Oh, there you go.
Yes. So the TikTok video, it all kind of made everything make sense with all this research that we've been doing. And so I encourage everybody to go check that out on TikTok. But they're talking about that it was kind of given an explanation for the incubator babies and all the orphanages.
Right.
It said that every 360 years now, and y'all, this is to the audience tonight. I'm not stating facts. I'm just saying that this is a theory. Okay. listen, by no means am I an expert on this, and I know Brown Dwarf. We're both kind of like we're just enjoying the research and having fun with it. But they say that every 360 years there's a reset. Okay, and they base that on the eclipse of the sun. Okay, the total eclipse of the sun around 1660 was the last one. Okay, and that's when the mud flood wiped out the Tartarian Empire allegedly. Okay, some people say the Tartarian Empire never existed.
Right.
I disagree with that. But that's when the pod people were created. And the pod people are fake humans, basically. And they were all of the Caucasian race. Okay. They're white people. Okay. White babies. But they say that they reproduce 10 times before they become sterile. And these people, they don't think outside the box. The TV is their programming. It's like their narrator, and that's where they get their signal from. If you say anything outside the program, they are there to get angry at you. And if you don't follow their herd, they do the herd mentality. And if you don't follow the herd mentality, they come after you and they'll scream and fight. And so when you like are hanging out with them, they make you feel like you're the crazy person because you're not going with the program. Okay.
Yeah, interesting.
Yes. And so the theory is that those babies that were brought in from these postcards that I showed, that are depicted in those postcards, those are the pod people.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And they were put here, but who put them here, Brown Dwarf? That's my question.
That was what I was going to ask you and everyone else is, so who put these pod people? And going back a little bit right here, you mentioned, so the flood. And that flood supposedly is what wiped out the Tartarians, the giants, and some of their facilities or structures were left over that were taken over, and like yes, we mentioned, now being used. And so I was thinking, so if these people, these giants, and maybe most of the people on Earth or wherever got wiped out, then who made these pod people? Yeah. And then, so, yeah, a lot of questions. And so I would imagine there would have been survivors as well. Normal humans, I would imagine. But yeah, no, what comes to mind is, once again, the alien theory. So if we were being made or seeded by extraterrestrials, and maybe they're the ones, I don't know. It's hard to say, but yeah, I'm sure someone out there's probably got some answers that could lead us to more information.
I mean, who knows? We're just kind of poking around at this and trying to form our own kind of hypothesis on what this could all be, because it kind of makes sense when you start putting all the pieces of the puzzle together with all of the asylums and orphan trains. And the postcards really kind of blew the lid off of all this. Okay. And that's where people started getting really curious. And that's why our video got so much traction. And so many people watched it. And that's why I thought it was important to bring this Spaced Out Radio, because we have a bigger audience. I know people are really, it's going to be very interesting for a lot of people, because a lot of people probably have never heard of this before. So, so speaking about the Tartarian Empire, let's go back to that one, because there were giants back then. They say that there are giants, and I've done a lot of research on giants lately. And Brown, you and I both do Sasquatch research. We know that there are giant humanoids. Okay, but this is wild. Look how big that man is right there. Okay, that would explain how a lot of these big they have like staircases that are gigantic and large books and guns and all sorts of stuff that only giants would use. Okay. And it's not really explained in our history books as to why there's so many big things out there for giants. And also the giant skeletons. Why are they hidden from us?
Of course.
Okay.
Yeah. A lot of questions.
Also, I'm going to make another connection here, okay? Because I did a show I have a remote viewing show. I am trained extensively in remote viewing, and I have a show where I look into paranormal events, and I looked into, let's have the picture, Giant of Kandahar.
Mm-hmm.
I remote viewed this. I had a lot of views on that show as well, because people are really interested in this. I remote viewed what I saw was the troops were actually sent into Afghanistan to obtain a sample
Mm-hmm.
of a giant. And by
Wow.
that, I mean, they meant to go kill at least one of them and bring it home for DNA. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so what on earth are they doing with that DNA? Okay. Cloning, probably, most likely is what I would think.
I could only imagine.
Right.
Yeah. And yeah, once again, the giant thing, yeah, I forgot where I was gonna go with this, but it'll come back to me. But yeah, the Kandahar giant is one of them, and we have the Lovelock Caves. We've been finding giant bones here in California, Catalina Island. So yeah, it's out there, and the crazy thing, we hear about these things disappearing. And also in our cryptid world, Sasquatch and cryptid world, you've been hearing more about mountain giants. Um,
Yes.
and so that's fascinating. And could these mountain giants be some of these giants, these Tartarian giants? I don't know. And then also what comes to mind is a lot of people talking about the Nephilim these days, right? And
Mm-hmm.
they're your
Yes.
extraterrestrials once again come into play here. So yeah,
That's
it's
right.
just a lot of stuff to plug away at, and so yeah, I feel like our topic of cryptids and all that just ties into all this stuff, the paranormal as well, and I think it's going to tie in, and yeah, what a time to be alive.
It is, and so like I said earlier, a lot of people assume or claim that a lot of our famous music industry people are clones, our politicians are clones. And I was watching an interview of a young music artist, and I believe his name is Kid Boo. Okay.
Yes.
And I was so just taken aback by his interview because he sits back. I'll show a picture of this guy. He claims he's a clone. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
He claims he's a clone. He does a very matter of fact interview it's on YouTube. You can find it. Just look up Kid, what's his name? Kid Boo, Buu. Kid Boo is a clone or something. And he sits there, he doesn't even blink. He's like, I am a sixth generation clone. Shout out to Clonaid. My serial number is 5593926. Y2K something. I don't know. It's so matter of fact, and you've seen that interview. I'm pretty sure.
Yes, and
Yeah.
you actually put me onto him on the last show we did, and I'm into music and all that stuff. And I wasn't familiar with him. I'm sure my brother knows about him and everything, but you put me onto him, which was really cool. And I started diving into some of his stuff, and come to find out, he is, I believe, part of a group. There's a group out there that's been around for a while, and this group believe in extraterrestrials. And I don't know if you want me to mention the group, but yeah, I believe they're called the Realien Group. And so this group, they believe in extraterrestrials, and they've also been pushing the whole cloning thing. And Kid Boo is a part of this group. And so there's a cloning alien connection there.
I mean, okay, there's all sorts of people speaking out against this. It's not Wiz Khalifa, it's somebody else. B.O.B., I think, talks about the cloning programs. And if you grew up, if you were young, I think I was in college in, early 2000s, late 90s. There's a music artist named Eminem. Okay. And a lot of people remember that. I think it was like the MTV Music Awards. He did that song Slim Shady. And what did he have? He had like 100 clones, right? Do you remember that? All these guys came out looking exactly like him. And it's almost as if looking back on it, it's like, man, they were just kind of putting it in our face. Right.
Yeah. Will the real Slim Shady please stand up?
The real Slim Shady. I mean, and people even said that he has actually attended music things with his clone. I think that's two separate pictures of him, but some say that he has gone to events with his own clones before, like with his clones. Okay. And so, like Gucci Mane is allegedly a clone. I mean, there's all, I'm from Atlanta, so I get the word on the street.
Yeah,
And
you're up on game.
yeah. So, you know, I gotta say, even our president,
Oh
people
yeah.
say he's a clown. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't, I don't doubt those things these days. Just because we know how, I mean, we have an idea how the world is crazy, right? And these days you never know. But yeah, and even right now I'm in Los Angeles, and Hollywood is just not too far away. And growing up in Hollywood, right? I think even that
Yeah.
whole industry is just has a lot going on. That's a whole rabbit hole in itself. And I think the whole cloning and just the whole I guess you could call it transhumanism or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's really deep in that whole scene there, and it's scary and bizarre, and yeah, get a
I
grip.
think it's fascinating. It's really scary. I'm team human. Okay. I'm pro human. I think that and it starts making me think, like, you start thinking when you start reading about the pod people, uh oh my God, am I? No, there's no way I'm a pod person. There's no way I came from the pod people. I don't know. But then you start thinking, like, I bet I know some people who are pod people. Okay. You start like making a list in your head, like, oh, I bet that person's a pod
Oh
person,
yeah, yeah. No, Jessica,
not to
you
point
have too
fingers,
much.
but
You have too much soul to be a pod.
thank you. Thank you. The only, I mean, I am Caucasian. Yes, I am. But, you know, I started thinking too, like, well, my family has traced our lineage back to like the beginning of time. Okay. Like, quite literally on both sides of my family.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think I'm safe. Okay.
Yeah.
And I
No.
don't take orders from anybody. So I'm pretty sure I'm not, but I do know, you know, we've had this divide in our society. You know, if you notice, and we call it the tale of two timelines, according to Frank Jacob, friend of the show. And so there's been a time, and we call it a timeline split, but really, is it just like the humans splitting from the pod people? Oh.
Oh man, I don't know.
Oh man, did I just?
I hope so.
I mean, it could be. Who knows? I think it's very interesting, though. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I know, groundbreaking news.
Yeah,
we're having realizations on air tonight.
Yeah, and then not only, I mean, you have I guess the pod people, and then the other epidemic going on these days is the whole the drug situation out there. You can see in major cities how bad that's going. It's like zombie. It's real zombies, and so yeah, it's like, what is going on, man? But
we live in yeah, this shows, it's like we've gone into the zombie. Yes, we do have zombies. I've seen, that's why you have to have a protective energy bubble around you at all times.
definitely.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
rub on the haters cream in the morning and be ready for the day.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. Well, let's get to, yeah, swamp dwellers in the house. Hey, okay.
Much love, brother.
Yes. So we do actually have people throughout history. Okay. We have speaking of our famous actors in music industry, people people came there, they could be clones. I got some pictures to show the audience tonight, because some of y'all may have seen these. Brown, you may have seen these. I know you have, because you're on the show with me. But tell me this isn't strange. Right. Nick Cage. Now, do you think these could be clones? Do you think he could be a clone of somebody, or could that be like a great grandparent,
or a reincarnation? I don't know. That's a tough
one.
But
I thought that when we reincarnate, we become somebody totally different, like another race, another gender. Yeah, I mean, another species. Yes,
man. But if that's not Nick.
I mean, and look at this, Johnny Depp. Okay, look, that Nick Cage one, that is actually, let me go back to that picture. That is actually Lieutenant Robert Smith of the Confederate Army in 1870. Okay.
Wow.
Let's see, Johnny Depp. This is the great grandfather of some Reddit user, okay, that posted that. Check out Jimmy Fallon. This is so wild. This is Turkish revolutionary Machir Kayan. Wow. Tell me that looks just like him.
Looks like Jimmy Fallon undercover.
Yes, it does. Working for the KGB or something. Okay, and now we've got Eddie Murphy. Eddie Murphy, and this is Ray Gibson from 1932. He was actually a pickpocket accused of murder wrongly.
Wow.
Eddie Murphy played him in the movie Life. Okay.
Trip out,
right? That's what I'm saying.
So yeah, so that's another little phenomenon to look into in itself, right there. You know, just how what is it? Art imitates, or what's that saying? Art imitates
life imitates art,
or
vice versa.
Right? Yes. That is
it's
weird.
So odd. Okay, and now we also have Conan O'Brien. That guy looks like Conan. This is actually Civil War veteran and Senator Marshall Harvey Titchwell. Or Titchell.
Wow.
Okay, and now this is
giant.
Yeah. Okay, and then we also have John Travolta. Okay, people say this is John Travolta. That's 1860s. This is an Ambro type John Travolta reincarnation. I'm not sure who that guy is, but it's from 1860.
That's weird.
Okay. Now, somebody in the chat said, pod people, you mean Mark Zuck. Okay. Well, I got a picture for you. Okay. I've got a picture for you. This is actually, let's see if I can find who that is. This is Baroque era Diego Velázquez of Spanish royalty right there. It does kind of look like him a little bit. I don't know. And of course I have Queen Latifah here. Hey. Let's see, who is this? Queen Latifah. That is author Zora Neale Hurston.
Wow, okay. That looks
that could be her. Like I'm just saying. I'm gonna say doppelganger. Okay. Definitely. Now that's a whole other rabbit hole though, Brown Dwarf. Doppelgangers.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. They're out there. Now, do you think that we could have doppelgangers here because of those DNA tests that people take?
Uh-oh. You know what? That's funny.
Now we're going down another rabbit hole here. Okay.
I was just talking about this with my brother maybe 2-3 days ago. And we're, and it's interesting. I would love to find out like your bloodline and all that stuff. And I feel I have, I know, but yeah, I wouldn't do it. I would not do that at all. Send my DNA in like that. But yeah, that's scary. Because I question myself, what are they doing with it? It's weird.
It's not safe to me. I don't know. Like, there's just so many things that can be done with our DNA. And if it's true that scientists can take a piece of your hair, a piece of your bone, imagine what they can do with your saliva. I mean, it's got all DNA stuff in there. I'm not a scientist. I don't know how this stuff works, but it's got your life force there, and they can pretty much do whatever they want. They could turn you into a clone. Oh, yeah. And I also believe that they probably use that to track down certain bloodlines, and that goes into like the alien technology part of this, and
like keeping
the
tabs
cloning programs. Yeah.
Yes.
I'm thinking like the abduction program. They pick and choose who to abduct.
Yeah, definitely. And what comes to mind is the 411 phenomenon, that predominantly German people of German descent getting being victims of this phenomenon, right?
Yeah. I mean, it allows them to even make medicines, and let's just say the shots or something, to target certain, genetics, and they're able to pinpoint where the people live and all that. It's such a strange thing. A strange thing.
And if I'm not mistaken, isn't there a certain type of bloodline that is more, or blood type, should I say, that's more common in the abduction phenomenon?
But perhaps, I'm not sure. Somebody in the chat would probably know better than I do, but I'm sure. I mean, I hear about RH negative all the time, and I mean, who knows? I do know that. I mean, just like, let's take for instance myself and my family. Okay, in my family, I've had up close and personal experiences with ETs. I've seen them with my own eyes. Mm-hmm. I don't know what happened, to be honest with you. I've probably been abducted my entire life. Okay. Mm-hmm. Now I do know for sure my great grandmother and my great aunt were part of some sort of abduction thing that happened while they were driving down the road one night. Wow. So I do know that things like that have happened in my family. Mm-hmm. So do they target certain bloodlines and genetics? And
I wonder. And I know with the Sasquatch phenomenon, some people mention also that certain people get tagged also.
Yes, that's right.
So certain people will get the phenomenon a lot more active in their lives than others, and stuff like that. It'll follow them, and so that's I wonder, what that's about there. And then it could be also that the Sasquatch are aliens themselves too. If this is an alien thing going on, And as far as when people mention aliens, also I believe that there's many different species, some good, some bad, and they're all playing their role. So when you say aliens, it's kind of
It's kind of broad.
term. Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of broad. I don't know. I mean, look, we're just putting this out there because it's really interesting. We really don't know. But how we start figuring some of this stuff out is we ask questions and we kind of put it out there. We give our opinions, other people give their opinions back, and we just open up a conversation about it.
Yes, and while mentioning Sasquatch also, and DNA, while the topic of DNA, we've talked about also the DNA studies that have been done, and the results being that the female side, right, the mitochondrial side, female, is human, and that the male side is the unknown, and so that comes to question, and all once again tied into all this DNA talk, and aliens and pod people, and
pod people. I mean, I wouldn't mind talking some more about these pod people tonight, because this is just crazy to me, but it makes so much sense.
I heard, excuse me, I was going to, the pod people, I heard even some of the babies, when they're babies, some of them even tend to have like an old, like an aged look to them also, that like they've already looked aged and they're young. And so I found that weird. And it's just certain characteristics of these clones also that stand out, and that I've noticed in certain people, especially being around major cities and stuff like that. But it's really weird.
Yeah. Okay. So that was part of it. They say that the babies age faster. Like it's not just the babies, it's as the lineages of these pod people that came in around the 16, 17, 1800s, whenever this was, their lineages, like they go for 10 generations, basically. They can reproduce 10 times until they become sterile. Their lineages become sterile. And right now we are at a point to where they're becoming sterile. Okay. And that's why another reset is taking place right now. Okay. Human resets. And that's something that I have been hearing about a lot lately. And it's not on mainstream news. Okay. We're not going to get this information on anywhere but YouTube channels and podcasts, and where people are actually talking about these things. Because what comes on the television? Programming. Okay. Right. Programming. That's where the pod people are getting their directives.
So we're here to unlearn and
yes,
learn something new. Also,
oh my gosh, I just thought about Tide Pods. Remember when kids were eating Tide Pods? Just kidding. No, it has nothing to do with this, probably.
What was that?
Yeah, when the kids, when teenagers were eating Tide Pods.
Oh, the Tide. Oh my goodness.
Tide Pods, yes. The detergent.
Yeah, I know exactly.
What the heck? Does that have a connection?
Jeez.
Yeah, there may be a connection. Probably not, but yeah, I don't know. Yeah, but the TV is where people are getting the pod people, their lineages getting their direct
programs.
So,
oh yeah, makes sense.
I mean, yeah, yes, yeah, yes.
Can you hear me all right? You're sounding a little choppy.
But yeah.
All right, you're matrixing out a little bit.
I'm coming back. I'm sorry.
There you are.
Here I am.
No, you good. Welcome back.
I'm back. I should be back. I know. I knew I have a backup. I've got my phone set up over here because I knew my computer might blimp out on me tonight. So thank you for being there. I'm ready. I'm ready to switch over if I have to. But yeah, the whole pod thing, the Tide Pods, the pod people, it's it just kind of makes sense as to why people yelled at me for so long when I didn't wear my mask in Walmart, you know, and things like that. It kind of brings it all together to where things make more sense if you look at it that way, but not to say it's all correct. So, but anyways,
yeah, as far as the resets, I feel like the resets are going on many levels. Also, there's different sorts of resets going on. But yeah, these major ones are scary because we have these natural disasters that happen and stuff, and to have something happen on a global magnitude would be really really scary.
Yes. Am I out of sync still? I'm sorry.
No,
Am I
you're good
good?
over
Am I
here.
back? Okay, I'm
Oh
back. I'm back. We're gonna get us a new computer over here one day. Things will be fine. But yes, this is yeah. Thank you, everybody in the audience tonight is really enjoying the presentation. Apparently, so yeah, this is a lot of fun. But yeah, like I was saying, which I was probably glitched out earlier, it makes more sense as to why people were yelling at me over the past 2 years over stuff like not wearing a mask and all that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah.
Because I don't like people telling me what to do. Okay.
Right. And you know what? And even like bringing this up to like friends and family, I try to be really careful how I approach and deliver this type of information, because people don't, I don't know, they take things certain ways sometimes, and you don't want to offend anyone or misinform anyone either. So yeah, always suggest everyone to do their own homework. And what I like about these doing these shows is that the feedback that you get sometimes, especially the positive feedback, people that may bring information that may guide you to other stuff, and or just us informing other people is just great. And I love how you do it, Jessica.
Thank you. Hey, I'm just having fun. And honestly, I mean, we can't do anything but kind of joke around about it a little bit because if we're not laughing, we're crying. Okay. So, but I just really enjoy this. And Mike, a cloning factory, there are cloning factories all over the place. There's definitely one in Canada that I've heard of. I think that's where Clonate is. Shout out to Kid Boo from Clonate. But I don't know. I mean, they could be. From what I understand, there's a lot of them. Okay, there's a lot of them all over the place, and some celebrities actually have spoken out about how they're scared for their lives because they know that a clone can be made of them, and they will be dead. That the music industry, whoever, has a reason to take their lives and put their clone in their place and keep making money off of their character.
And that reminds me of also the whole thing of cryogenics.
Yes, right.
Yeah, people freezing their bodies and brains, and to hopefully be able to come back and continue living here on this earth. And I think that's pretty far out as well. I don't know if I'd be up for that. I don't know if I'd want to be here that long.
Well, they say Walt Disney put his head in a freezer or something. Do you remember that?
Yeah, and I think, I don't know.
Yeah, and
Michael Jackson did, but I've heard of several that.
I hear Mike MJ's still alive. I don't know. There's so many conspiracies out there. I think he's still alive. I think he had so many clones that his clones started breaking down and his clones died. So I don't know.
And
I think he's still alive.
Yes, and R.I.P. to Lisa Marie if she did really pass.
That's right. Well, and and it's interesting because now we're just like anyone who dies, we're all suspicious of it now. Not everybody.
Yep.
Not the pod people aren't suspicious, but I sure am.
Yeah, is Tupac still around?
Right? Probably. Because now it's like, well, these are all clones, right? It could be clones that die. There's a video of extentation or something that I saw where he was allegedly shot and it looked like a dead body, but that could have been his clone. What about all of these famous people who have done horrible things that allegedly go to prison, but they're not actually dead? That was probably their clone that got sent to prison,
Yeah.
I don't know.
A lot of questions.
Yeah. Yes, Christine, I have talked about my personal ET experiences on my on shows that I've been on and stuff, but I don't have I can't think of a place where I actually sit down and do like a whole spiel on it. But yeah, I talk about them when I do interviews and stuff. So you can go to my playlist on my YouTube channel and watch some of the interviews that I've done on other people's shows. I've talked about it. So thank you for asking. But this is yeah, this is like I was saying, I think my internet is a little choppy again. But
all right.
But yeah, pod people, it makes you okay, thank you. Yeah, it just really makes you wonder like who is who, what's what. Are we living in a timeline split, or are the humans breaking away from the controllers?
Yeah. I think there is a you call it separation or an awakening. I do believe a lot of people are waking up. I mean, I personally feel I've been going through some major changes as of late. Just becoming more aware of a lot of things, of my thoughts, the way I react to things also, and just I mentioned also the perspective, the way I look at things, and all this information is just opening my eyes up to a new vision, to a new way of thinking and living and feeling, and it's been good. It's been good, although a lot of this stuff is dark and it's heavy topics. I do balance it out with some good stuff, and yeah, I can keep chipping away at it, and yeah, so we buy this ticket and take the ride.
Yeah. I mean, I feel sometimes like I'm on a one-way trip to Crazy Town on the Woo train here, but it's so much fun. I wouldn't have it any other way. And there's what fun is it if you can't question this stuff? I mean, we on the show that you and I did, we showed a picture of an Egyptian statue compared to Michael Jackson. You remember that? I mean, there's just so many. I mean, could he have been a clone from ancient Egypt? Probably. Who knows?
Way back
then. I mean, apparently, with all the time travel and the time not being linear, like we're taught, absolutely, people could take DNA from the mummies and stuff and make clones today. I mean, if they can do it with animals and dinosaurs, they can do it with people.
Definitely. And I think aren't they trying to do that with the woolly mammoth?
Yeah. Well, they did it with the sheep, right? Or the dolly. Yeah.
And after Dolly, a bunch of other animals soon after. So
yes,
yeah.
And the doctor yes. that took his life force and made clones, if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
they tried to.
Okay, and I was hearing another one that claimed to have, like, I guess, cloned some embryos and took it a step further, and I think even maybe impregnated some women with the embryos, and then I don't know what happened after that, but yeah. And then also another thing that had popped up into mind, also we were talking about the ancient astronaut theory and whatnot. I believe science has acknowledged also that Homo sapiens have also crossbred with other hominids way back when as well. So there's those connections and those I guess splicings of DNAs there too. So which brings up a lot of questions. I know we were also going to possibly get into chimeras. Maybe we'll save that for the next one.
Well, I had it on the title, but we had so much to talk about with the clones. We hadn't really been able to get around to it. But yeah.
We'll dive in some other time. But like I said, it just opens up so many other doors of questions. It's nonstop.
Yes, and this is a great point. Force people unveiled live. Yes, everything we thought we knew is a lie. I can agree with that. I think that the wool has been pulled over our eyes for far too long, and I think for whatever reason, I don't know if the vibrational frequency of the earth has changed, if the veil's been lifted, whatever you want to call it, and we are able to see things, and I'm not sure what's going on. Maybe the pods have hit their last generation, and we're breaking free.
There's definitely something happening, and I feel it. And so yeah, people grab on and get in touch with your source and
Yes,
be ready.
that's right. Yeah. Well, we ready. We ready up in here. I'm ready. I don't know. I don't think I have any doppelgangers of me walking around. Who knows? I hope not. I haven't done a DNA test. Have you?
No.
No. I would never do one.
Nope.
I wouldn't. I would be scared too. Not to say the doctor's offices haven't taken blood before, you know.
And Joe Monk, what's
It's a
up, brother?
little
I read
early.
your comment. I didn't know about
Yeah.
that.
Someone. Oh yeah, I've heard stuff like that before
No, I
too.
didn't
Who
know
knows?
that.
The world is a stage, y'all. I think a lot of the things that it's all a big show, bread and circuses, right? So
Mm-hmm.
yeah. But yeah. Well, this has been awesome. Brown Dwarf, where can people find you online and your work?
Yes.
You have an amazing TikTok and YouTube channel, by the way.
Yeah, that's all new. I've been working on that. I'm new to it, and I've been getting a lot of help from people as far as like guiding me how to like do things and sharing things with me. So I'm new to that, and it's just a bunch of having educational fun there, and mainly cryptid Bigfoot related. And so that's Brown_Dwarf 420. And then I'm also on YouTube, and I'm under Brown Dwarf, which is really hard to find because usually the algorithm will just throw a bunch of celestial objects, which is cool, to learn what the Brown Dwarf is. But usually if you put like orbs or Bigfoot next to my name, hopefully that'll pop something up. And yeah, thank you once again, Jessica. I had a blast, and
Thank you.
yeah, please keep me updated with any happenings or any information you come across. And usually I'll be in the chats on SOR or any other stuff that's pretty interesting. I usually find you or we find each other.
Yes, we
So,
do.
so you'll find me around. And once again, cheers to everyone in chat. Thank you for the support, and SOR rocks. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And if anyone needs to find Brown Dwarf on YouTube, which I hope you all do, you can go to my YouTube channel. I have him listed at the bottom of my homepage as one of my friends. And so that's a really easy way to find him. Go to the Cryptid Huntress on YouTube and go down to the bottom. He's on my friends list. And it's a direct link to his YouTube channel. So it's easy access right there. And y'all subscribe to my channel too, please, while you're there. So Brown, thank you so much for being here. This has been another fantastic show. And yeah, now maybe people will go research the pod people.
Hey.
And yeah, and look into these human resets. Okay. Well, awesome. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for being here tonight. I will see you. I'll see you next time. Okay.
All right.
We'll see you at the Cryptid Hunter channel.
Hey,
okay.
I'll be over at chat.
All right. We'll see you on After Hours in the chat. Okay. Okay. Thank you, Brown. See ya. All right, y'all. Brown is awesome. I have a lot of fun talking about this stuff. Y'all know it is kind of crazy, but it is also a lot of fun at the same time. Don't forget that right after this show, you guys join the After Hours crew. They're going to take you on a mysterious journey for the next 3 hours. Next time on Off the Trails, my guest is author, songwriter, and show host Shane Grove from the Shadows podcast. We're going to have a fantastic time. I can't wait to see y'all there. But for now, I'm the Cryptid Huntress. I'm headed off the trails. I will see you guys tomorrow night. After Hours is next. They have a really cool show set up for you guys. I will see y'all tomorrow. Bye.